Today is lesson 6.5, day 2, which is on writing polynomial functions from zeros, which, in case you're asking yourself, it is going exactly back the opposite way from what we came from yesterday. It is actually, if you're curious, 6.6 in the book, but we're going to call it 6.5 because it matches up so well. So let's start with this first one when we have some real zeros of 5, -2, and 4, writing the function in standard form. So the first thing we want to do is write it in factored form. And this is what we did during 6.4 day 2 with some of our word problems. And so I know that this is going to be f of x equal to x minus 5, because remember when it's in parentheses it's the opposite. X minus -2 or x plus 2, and x minus 4. Step 2 then, we're then going to multiply the factors and simplify it to get into standard form. So I'm going to start by foiling this out, giving me f of x, and I'm going to put the x minus 4 out front, only because I like it to have the shorter stuff out front. And when we FOIL, we get x squared plus 2x minus 5x, so minus 3x minus 10. And then I can go ahead and FOIL that yet again. So we get f of x equal to x cubed times -3 or minus 3x squared minus 10x. And if you want to use the box method, you can feel free to go ahead and do so. Minus 4x squared plus 12x plus 40. So then we can combine our like terms. I see here that I've got a -3x squared and a -4x squared, so that means I have f of x equal to x cubed minus 7x squared, and I have a -10x plus 12x, so plus 2x plus 40. And that would be my final answer. Now, the question is, what happens if you got something like this? We have this x equals 2 plus 5i. One thing we learned when we were going through complex numbers is that we have this complex conjugate. So if 2 plus 5i is one of our zeros, 2 minus 5i is also one of our zeros. So then we want to write it in factored form. That means that f of x is equal to, and we have to do x minus 2 plus 5i times x minus 2 minus 5i. What I want you to do right now is put down your pencils. I'm going to show you the way that you guys would expect to be able to do this. And then we're going to go back, we're going to erase it all, and we're going to show you the way that you want to do it with the trick that I have. All right, so doing this the traditional route, we need to make sure that we distribute this negative in here, which means that I'm going to have f of x is equal to, and I'm going to put these in brackets, I have x minus 2, which that's real, so I'm going to put that together, minus 5i times x minus 2 plus 5i. Now when we go and FOIL this through, we've got x minus 2 times x minus 2 and then we have plus 5i times x minus 2 minus 5i times x minus 2 minus 5i times 5i, and I apologize for squishing it in there. So then when we simplify this out, we're going to FOIL this, which gives us x squared minus 4x plus 4 plus, and then we notice that these cancel because they're opposites of each other. So then we have plus a -25 I squared. So then we look at this and say, oh, well that means that this I squared is -1, so that's -25 times -1, and so that's plus 25. So this is going to be x squared minus 4x plus 4 plus 25, which is going to give you x squared minus 4x plus 29. Now, I'm going to go ahead and erase this, and we're going to do it the way I want you to do it. The trick that I actually want you to use is a little something that says that f of x is equal to x squared plus the sum of your zeros times x plus the product of your zeros. And this works when you have either radicals or complex numbers. Don't do it with the real numbers because you know how to do that. So knowing that, that's saying that f of x here is equal to x squared plus the sum of my x's, so that's 2 plus 5i plus 2 minus 5i. And I'm going to continue in the next line since I made that kind of big, plus the product of these, which would be 2 plus 5i times 2 minus 5i. And so when I do this, I get f of x equals x squared. And then when I look here, 2 plus 2 is 4, 5i minus 5i is 0. So this is 4 times x. I put my x in there. And then here, when we FOIL this out, 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times 5i is negative 10i, sorry. 2 times 5i is plus 10i. And 5i times negative 5i is negative 25i squared. So these cancel, so you get 4. And we have 4 minus 25 times -1, which is 4 plus 25, which is 29. So we get the same exact answer with a whole lot less work. We're going to do the next example in the next video.